What is up, guys? It is Sam here from Market Movers, and today I have a great video for you, and it's my top 5 picks for 2022 in the stock market. So these are stocks that most of them I do own myself, and I basically think that they're going to have a fantastic year for the year coming. Some of them we have talked about before when we've talked about stocks and picks that we have. And look, I think they're going to be a good year for these stocks. I've got them across a lot of different industries, covering a lot of different categories. So we are well diversified with these. So guys, this is not financial advice by any means at all. And hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 500 and we're hoping to get there as soon as possible. And remember, guys, as well, if you want to get some free Bitcoin or free Ethereum, make sure you check out the Nexo and BlockFi links down below. And also our sponsor of 35mm vintage is also down below as well. So make sure you check that out too. So guys, let's get straight into the video. So my first stock pick for 2022 is actually Alphabet. So as you probably know them more so as Google. So I've gone for one of the big techs, and this has always been my favorite of big tech to go for. It would be Google, would be one that I would buy firstly and foremost. So that's why I'm kind of recommending it for this year. I think it's just going to have a good and steady year, and it'll be one that you can always kind of rely on that it will perform quite well generally. So yeah, everyone knows Google, like the advertising giant. They're involved in Android, they have their own devices, and look, they're ever expanding. There are also talks of them possibly getting involved in like AI. They're involved in the cloud. They're involved in AI with a partnership with C3, which is one of our stocks as well. So yeah, look, Google, like, they're absolutely huge company. Everyone knows them. They're all growing fantastically. I don't really see a year ahead where Google will not grow. So I think like they're definitely one that you can add to your stock portfolio, like, and you can look at it without feeling that you're taking on too much risk. It does kind of trade a bit more, say, expensive than some of the other ones, like compared to Facebook. It does trade more expensive than Facebook, but it's cheaper than Amazon. So I think it kind of gives you a good balance, like where you have like good growth there with Google, and you're getting a valuation for it too. So that's kind of why I think Google, like, it doesn't really need to be going into that much detail. People are going to understand what their what they're all about. They have like absolutely a fantastic balance sheet as well, as you just mentioned. Like, their balance sheet is absolutely fantastic. The cash flow is fantastic. So yeah, they're definitely one that I actually don't even personally own it, but I've always been looking to get into big tech. But I'm kind of going for more high risk plays at the moment, just because of my age and wanting to kind of pick obviously the best stock possible. Like, so I don't own Google personally, like, but if I was going to pick a big tech, it would be Google. So yeah, look, personally, I might start adding to it, but it's just one I haven't really thought to add, as I've been taking on higher risks. But look, if you're going to go for one of the big techs, then I would definitely 100% look at Google. So the second stock up here is Qualcomm. So the reason I picked Qualcomm is because it's basically a semiconductor company, and I think it's probably the most well-known really that's there at the moment for putting the Snapdragon processors in phones and stuff. So they have that basically all sewn over. Qualcomm is a stock that I do own myself. I do think it's a very well run company. They've got good ties in a lot of different areas, and also they're actually trying to venture into the autonomous driving network, which they just purchased a company called Venue, which they beat Magna International to buying recently. So that's a really good point that came with Qualcomm. The valuation on them is not crazy when you're looking at the growth that they will have in the next few years, especially with the 5G rollout that's going to be coming all around the world. It's kind of starting to gather pace now, like, and they're literally perfectly positioned to take full advantage of this. So yeah, they're not overly valued. The ratios are all looking really good. They're basically, I think they are one of the best companies you can probably get at the moment in my eyes. So I kind of purchased around the 160 zone initially, and I also purchased when they went down to 135. So now they're around the 180 range. Like, so it's it's been a very, very good performer for me, especially as the markets have not been so kind to a lot of growth stocks in recent times. So yeah, look, Qualcomm is probably one of my number one plays for the year coming and for many years afterwards. So I think it's kind of nearly a no-brainer on Qualcomm. But then again, remember, everyone do your own research. Look into Qualcomm yourselves, like, to try and see why you think it might be a good pick. I can do a more video, more in depth, when I'm not talking about 5 or 6 different stocks at one time, to actually explain why more of a bullish thesis around a Qualcomm. But yeah, look, Qualcomm is one of the best, and yeah, definitely one that you should consider adding to your portfolio. So the third stock I have is CrowdStrike. So CrowdStrike, if you've been following the channel for a while, you know that this is one of my favorite positions that I do have. It's in the cybersecurity space, which is ever growing. So it's a huge total addressable market that's going to be happening in 2025. So at the moment, companies don't spend a huge amount on cybersecurity, and it's becoming more and more relevant as you're seeing more and more companies get hit by cyber attacks. So you're seeing this grow more and more, and by 2025, 2026, you're going to have a huge total addressable market for this industry. So the one I've gone with is CrowdStrike. So CrowdStrike are the number one player in this. They have the best technology, they have the best threat protection, they have the best analysis, and they have nearly the best software. So I see them as the industry leader. They're like the platinum level of cybersecurity in the stock market, and like, they're firing on all cylinders. They're putting up some crazy growth numbers, and I don't see them slowing down, especially until at least like 2025, 2026. Then they're continually going to be grabbing more and more market share. They're continually developing more and more modules that they can add on to their already very successful Falcon product. They're creating more and more additional modules that can do more and more features, so people will turn to CrowdStrike as like the be all and end all of their security systems. So look, it's also a stock that, like, we first started purchasing around 90, and it went all the way up to very close to 300, and now it is actually in and around the 200 mark. So it's actually down quite around 33% from its high. So it's definitely one to consider. Like, I know the valuation is quite high, but I do see this growing for years and years to come, and I think it's probably going to have a very good year this year as well. So it's definitely one to consider, and if you're interested in cybersecurity, you could definitely take a look at it and see if you want to add it to your portfolio. Obviously, then again, it's not financial advice, but yeah, look, it's definitely one of my favorites. I do own it. I have quite a substantial position in it, and look, I think it's going to be a great one for the future. So guys, my fourth pick is one that you've probably seen if you've seen the recent video that I've done, and that's on C3AI. So this stock has been absolutely decimated in 2021. I think it's going to have a massive year in 2022, like producing some very good gains for us. Look, they're basically one of the leaders in artificial intelligence. I think it does pay you just to have some AI exposure, whether it being in, you're obviously getting some of it from Google, and also then you're getting some from C3AI, like, and I think they're probably one of the leaders in their specific area that they work in, basically trying to find problems, identify problems inside whatever software or whatever company you use. They've got loads of partnerships. I know, like, a lot of it is kind of centered around oil, which is probably not the greatest thing to have, but look, it is business all the same. Eventually, like, look, these projects that they've worked on in the past will stand to them to get more and more customers on board and get bigger deals and bigger contracts from years and years to come. So, like, I think they're in a really good position. They have Thomas Siebel is the guy who runs the company, so he's like one of the best people you could possibly have in this situation to be running a company like that. I know he's kind of on the older side of things, like, but he's very passionate about the stock itself. Like, so look, I think it's a good one to have and a good exposure. It gives a good risk reward from the price point that it's at right now. Where it was previous, you had a price on it at around 180 at its peak. It came an IPO at around like 40 to 50, and now it's like sitting in the low 30s. Like, so you've got like a huge potential reward there ahead of you. Like, so yeah, look, it's definitely one to think about. And look, I have a video that's all about it as well, like, so I'll link that in the top left. So yeah, look, I obviously do own the stock. I started buying it actually around 40, and I kind of just bought it the whole way down. Like, so I've got a good average price at around 34 as well. So yeah, look, it's definitely one to consider when you're thinking about getting involved in AI, and also the first stock mentioned, not Google. For the last stock that I have, it's not actually one stock. So I basically picked a whole sector that I think you definitely need to hold a stock that's exposed to this. So, and that's the fintech sector. So you're looking at like SoFi, Affirm, PayPal, Square, are the top 4 picks that I think would be the ones that you would go for if you're trying to get exposure into this area. So I'm trying to do a bit more digging and try to understand more likely SoFi or Affirm to kind of make a decision on which one I want to go with. That is in for the to go with for the future and for the next year. But I think this year is going to be a very, very good year for these companies. PayPal has been shot down, Square has been shot down, and also like SoFi is down quite considerably from its heights as well, and so is Affirm. So I think these companies are really like they're primed to have a good year this year. So I think this is one that you need to definitely consider adding. Like, so I'm going to do a bit more work myself. I'm going to look more into SoFi and Affirm especially. I think they're ones that I want to potentially add to my portfolio. I think they're very, very good companies to get into as well. So look, that's where I'm at. I have the 5 stocks I think are going to do absolutely fantastic. You've Google, Qualcomm, CrowdStrike, C3AI, and then one of the fintech picks. So guys, that brings me to the end of my picks for 2022. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it gives you a bit of insight on what to look at, what sectors to look at. So you've got the big tech, you've got the semiconductor, you've got the cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and also the fintech sectors. Like, so go out there and make your own decisions and see how we'll get on this year. So guys, I hope you like this. I am coming from isolation because I have got the dreaded COVID, unfortunately, but yeah, hopefully the energy wasn't impacted too much in the video. But look guys, I hope you enjoyed this one, and we will see you in the next one. And do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, it does mean a lot to us. Thank you.